What's good, peeps? What's good, everyone? How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're all doing very, very well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you guys are new to the channel. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, as you can see, I'm not in the studio. I did say one of my last videos that I'm gonna go away for a few days. I'm in Nigeria. It feels good to be back home as well. I've not been here for nearly 4 years, and I had a look at the schedule and I was like, you know what? There's a little week here where I'm not doing much. I can go to Nigeria. So yeah, I am here for a couple of things. I'm still actually going to do some work for DAZN and TalkSport whilst out here. I've got a meeting with an MMA organization out here as well. And tomorrow I'm going to have a look at some land. Yeah, we're going to do a bit of land shopping tomorrow because the dream is to build a house back here. So yeah, we're here, but we're still busy. I didn't even plan on doing any videos, if I'm honest with you, while I was here, but I did bring my camera, my mic, just in case. And I think we've had a few just in case moments, so we are going to do a video today, maybe one tomorrow as well. I think Amir Khan's mentioned, or Amir Khan's brother has mentioned something about Amir Khan wanting to possibly do a rematch with Kell Brooks, so we've got to talk about that because that's just absolute nonsense. But what I did want to focus on was Anthony Joshua. Look, there's probably going to be a few AJ videos between now and the next couple of months until we find out what's going on with the big man. He has done a few interviews for IFL TV and Behind the Gloves, kind of revealing a bit more about his next 4 or 5 months, whether or not it will be an Alexander Usyk rematch. Look, we all know what Usyk's going through in Ukraine, so that's unlikely. Look, I did a video a few days ago saying AJ should have a fight in the interim. Now, some of you were like, not possible. Some of you were like, yeah. AJ's come out now and said he wants a fight in the interim, that the worst thing for him will be to not have a fight. The worst thing for him is to be an inactive fighter, and AJ has been an inactive fighter in the last 3 years. We're going to go through his record in a bit, but he's not had enough fights. It's that simple. If you look at someone like a Canelo, who is almost similar to AJ, AJ's the draw, so AJ, people should be wanting to fight an AJ, like they want to fight Canelo because they know it's a big, big fight, right? You're going to get real big money. Look how busy Canelo's been in the last 3 or 4 years. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, Canelo will have 3 fights this year. That's almost rubber stamped, right? He's gonna have Bivol, it probably will be Golovkin, and then one more. That one more now I think will be Makabu, by the way, in December. Whereas AJ now almost looks like already, and we're in March, that he's gonna have 1 fight this year. That's ridiculous. He had 1 fight last year. Do you know what I mean? So it's not good enough. A couple of other things AJ announced, and I don't know if I believe this, by the way. I was going to do a video on it, but I don't believe it because of his body language when he said it. When he mentioned his new trainer, then everyone's kind of doing videos about it, talking about it. I think he'll be part of the setup, but I don't think that's going to be his new trainer. Obviously, I'm talking about Angel Hernandez. So look, we'll see. But I'm more interested on who AJ is going to fight next. That's my interest. Now, AJ did say, I think, whoever was interviewing him, I think it was Umar Ahmed was interviewing him, and Umar chucked out Joe Joyce. Derek Chisora immediately said no. AJ said, why not? So that's clearly in his thinking as a potential opponent. I think that's very, very risky, but I mean, it's got to be somewhat of a name because, again, it's Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua doesn't fight in arenas, it's stadiums. For it to be a stadium fight, I guess there's got to be some sort of jeopardy attached to it to get people's interest. So let's have a look. Let's just let's go through BoxRec. Let's have a look who Anthony Joshua could fight. We can easily do a process of elimination here, and by doing that we can see who's out there based on sort of if they've got a fight scheduled, based on if they're worth it, if there's something there attached to it in terms of you beat that person, you get a bit more respect. We'll see. Let's have a look at the names. All right, let's go by BoxRec's rankings, which are not real, but we'll go by them. Tyson Fury, no. Usyk, obviously, no. Wilder. That's such a big fight. It's almost too big to be an interim fight whilst waiting for Usyk. The jeopardy attached to that is incredible. For Wilder, it's almost redemption if you fight AJ and win. I say redemption, I mean, there's no shame, again, attached to those losses to Fury, but a win over AJ puts Wilder right back up there, like immediately back up there. I don't think Wilder's stock has gone down with the Fury defeats. I really don't. I think the way in which he fought in that third fight, you have to give him plaudits for it, and he was that close to getting the job done. So Wilder is definitely there. Dillian Whyte, obviously not. Joseph Parker, rematch. Interesting. Right, interesting. Joseph Parker looked very good against Derek Chisora. I mean, Joseph Parker's fought over here before. The first fight with AJ was very boring. Ref stopped it, a lot of hugging, not much action. I feel like there'll be action now. I think that's a really good fight. Andy Ruiz, the trilogy fight, it's always on the table. Always on the table. I think it'll be difficult for Matchroom to do something. I say Matchroom, is he signed to Matchroom? I'm not quite sure what's going on, but yeah, sorry, signed to Matchroom. It'll be difficult to do something with PBC. We know the relationship between Al Heyman and Eddie Hearn, but that fight's always going to be on the cards. Derek Chisora, no, for a number of reasons. Chisora's coming off a really bad loss. AJ and Chisora are friends as well from years ago, so that's not going to happen. Michael Hunter would have been a really, really good name, but his stock has weirdly taken a hit in the last year and a half. It's strange. Like, Michael Hunter was always that name, like sort of one away from getting in the mix, always. And for some reason, I don't know if it's the Triller fights or the level of opponents he's been fighting recently, it's just taken a big nosedive. So I think Michael Hunter's out of it. Murat Gassiev, good name. We haven't seen enough at heavyweight. I think he's only had one fight at heavyweight, been very, very inactive. That's not going to sell. Luis Ortiz as an interim fight. Luis Ortiz for me is done as a top level heavyweight. I've always been the biggest Luis Ortiz fanboy, the biggest. But he's not that guy anymore. He was that guy when he first fought Wilder. Now he's not that guy, but is coming off a win against Charles Martin. He brings name value to it. He brings a lot of name value, does Luis Ortiz. And again, as an interim fight, I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. The next two are, I think, probably, if we are serious about an interim fight, I think the next two could be where AJ's lie. I think it could be Otto Wallin and Helenius. Otto Wallin didn't look good here last time out, but Otto Wallin, he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a southpaw. Obviously, AJ's fighting Usyk, who's a southpaw. It's not bad preparation for Usyk. Is he like Usyk? No, I'm not. Don't even, no one is on this list. But if you are going to fight someone, I think Otto Wallin could be a name that the UK public will accept. Again, it's going to be harder for them to swallow it just because of what he did last time out. He was awful, Otto Wallin. But realistically, that's the kind of name we're looking at. Helenius, I think, is a great shout. I really do. I think Helenius looked fantastic against Kalnacki. First time round, a lot of people thought, big upset, maybe got a bit lucky. Second time out, he showed it wasn't luck. And there's a lot of life left in Helenius. So, again, going on that list, we could go further, but there's no point going further. There's a couple of other names on there. Cabiel's on there. Tony Yoka, those won't happen. Charles Martin's coming off a loss. So on that list, again, I mean, dream scenario would be a Wilder, not going to happen because, again, we're talking an interim fight. Of the interim likely opponents, Ortiz, Otto Wallin, Helenius. I think it should be one of those three. Make of that what you will, but that's what I think. Again, guys, regarding that AJ and Hernandez link up, you know what I find strange about it? Obviously, Hernandez has been with AJ since the second Ruiz fight was added to the camp. So he's been around for 3 fight camps. You don't go and do the world tour that AJ's done and go and see the best trainers in the world. And AJ has done that, the best of the best. And then pick someone that you've been with for the last 3 fight camps. And I have to be honest with you, I've not seen that. I don't know how much impact Hernandez has on the camp, but obviously Rob McCracken's being the head trainer. But I don't think AJ's looked great in his last 3 fights. So the Ruiz fight, the Pulev fight, and obviously the Usyk fight. So for me, it's a complete clear out. Everyone goes. I'm sorry, every single person goes from that fight camp. Everyone. And we start again with a fresh team. I don't like the idea of someone lingering on that was part of it when, for me, you weren't that great. So I think everyone needs to disappear and then we start again. The fact that AJ fought Usyk in, what was it, September? When did AJ fight Usyk again? Should know this, shouldn't I? AJ fought Usyk, when was it? 25th of September. We are now in March, October, November, December, January, February, March. And we haven't sorted this situation because I don't believe he has yet. That's criminal. That's criminal. What? That should have been sorted immediately. Immediately. And it bothers me that it hasn't been sorted. Again, I don't like to make the comparison because everyone's got their own way of thinking. When Tyson Fury got rid of Ben Davison, which everyone initially thought was a mistake, immediately Sugar Hill Stewart Andy Lee are in. There is no, we're gonna, world tour. No, this is what I want. This is the style I want to fight like. I want to be more aggressive. I want to be on the front foot. Give me Sugar Hill Stewart and Andy Lee right now. Bang, team's done. And so far, the proof's in the pudding. AJ's the world tour and looking at different camps. So you're telling me you can go and look at Eddie Reynoso, you can go and look at Robert Garcia, Virgil Hunter, all of them, all the Ronnie Shields, and you're going to go with what you've had for the last 2.5 years, 3 years. Makes no sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. All right, let's run through some stories. Chocolatito. How good is that against Julio Cesar Martinez? Hopefully you guys will watch the fight, because I can always tell when a fight doesn't grab the casuals, and not every fight's going to, especially the super flyweights. Chocolatito is as good as it is out there in terms of a boxer. Like in terms of just pure boxing ability, that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets. And you know what? I remember being onto Chocolatito. Lee Wiley, who actually works in that camp with Ben Davison, he put me onto him. I have to admit, I was a bit casual as well, where you don't look at the lower weight classes, you focus on the big boys or the middleweights, or because of Floyd, the welterweights. So I wasn't really onto Chocolatito. And I watched a video when I was trying to kind of bring my knowledge up by Lee Wiley, and he was showing what Chocolatito's doing in slow motion. Because sometimes when you're watching it in normal speed, it looks like it's just like it almost looks reckless. It's not reckless. Every single move is calculated. This guy stays in the pocket where normally you'll tell people not to stay, because that's where you can inflict, where you can get, most damage. He stays in the pocket and is able to kind of just little slight movements. It's just mesmerizing. Again, the only person I can compare it to fighting today is Lomachenko. That's the only person. That there is no one else I can compare it to where you can fight in the pocket when the pocket really should have been where Julio Cesar Martinez was going to get the most joy. And Chocolatito saying, I can go to where you think you're going to win, and I'll beat you there. I'll beat you there. Where you think you're going to have most joy, I will dominate you. Man, I mean, wow. There's still a lot left in him. Obviously, this is the first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. But there's still a lot left in him, and I think there's at least 3 or 4 super fights left. There really is. Well done, Chocolatito. Josh Taylor, trainer, on rewatching Catterall Belt. I had Josh by 1 round, 130, 112, which basically means, I can translate that for you, Josh lost the fight. Like, if your trainer only has you winning by a round, and bear in mind, your trainer, if it's a close round, is going to give you the round because that's what your trainer is going to do. Jack Catterall lost the fight. I don't know what's going to happen. I know Josh is saying, look, even if we can't do it at welterweight, I'll have a rematch with him at a catchweight. This isn't about fighting Josh Taylor for Jack Catterall. This is about becoming a world champion and becoming undisputed. I'll repeat myself on that. I said this a few days ago. The only way Josh can make it right, and this isn't Josh's fault, and Josh really shouldn't have to do this, but the only way he can make it right is by saying, you know what, let's do it again. Yeah, 140 is tough, it is, but I don't like what people are saying. I want to show I can bash you up. Let's rerun it. Let's speak to all the governing bodies. Let's see what they say. Let's do it again. That's the only way. This isn't about fighting Josh Taylor for Jack Catterall. This is about becoming world champion, becoming undisputed. If he fights Josh at a catchweight, Josh has no belts and is no champion. Doesn't make sense. Again, we'll do a separate video on this one. Kell Brook, if Khan wants another whooping, he can have another whooping. Look, I hoped, and I thought it was going to be Conor Benn, Kell Brook. I spoke to a few people, a few insiders, and they were pretty sure that it was going to be that. Now, I don't know if Kell Brooks priced himself out. I did see Conor Benn did a video the other day saying that Kell wanted 10 million. Look, if you're Kell, you start high and they negotiate you lower. You start at 10 and see what they can say. Eventually it might get down to 5. Is a Conor Benn Kell Brook fight worth that much money? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. It's a fight that will generate a lot of interest from casuals, so it could be big. And for DAZN, it could be, and look, I'm not saying this is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but it could be one of the DAZN's pay-per-view things that they're trying to do over here. It could. But if you're Kell Brook and Amir Khan wants to do this again, you'll do it again. I don't think it will generate anywhere near the same amount of interest or money just because of the way Amir Khan got bashed up. So to me, it makes no sense. But look, if you want to do it again, if you're Kell Brook and you're thinking, does he really want to fight me again after what I did to him? We'll do it again. We'll do it again. A bit here about Dimitri Bivol, confident of victory, aims to showcase skills against Canelo. Yeah, Bivol will. Bivol's a very, very good boxer. Very good boxer. And Canelo obviously will start as a favourite. Canelo could fight anyone, to be honest. It's going to be very rare. Even if he were to go up to, even if Canelo was to fight Marius Bradis right now, who's the best cruiserweight on the planet, I feel like Canelo, by bookie standards, would be favourite. So there's no shame in Canelo being a favourite over Dimitri Bivol, but understand, Dimitri Bivol's an unbeaten guy, the bigger guy, and he's he's a light heavyweight champion that has beaten one of the light heavyweight champions. He's legit. He's legit. So let's see what Dimitri Bivol can do. I'm excited for it. Don't forget, this week, big fight live on DAZN, Lee Wood versus Michael Conlan. I'm going to do a separate video about that. I will be working on that show as well. I get back to London on Friday, chill out, and then straight to Nottingham. I can't wait for that one. I'm going to speak to Lee Wood today for DAZN. I don't know where. I have to arrange something in here, a little setup, and speak to him. We spoke to Michael Conlan, myself, and Tony Bellew last week. He's super confident. Obviously, look, he's the one coming up in weight. The previous fight he had was to get him into this position, but he's the natural smaller guy. Lee Wood's quite big in the division. So look, I really can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see Sandy Ryan, who's just a menace. She really is. She'll be fighting for a world title by the end of the year. Terry Harper's back. Kevin Ajarko's on that card as well. So yeah, can't wait. And the full squad is back as well. Laura Woods, Tony Bellew, myself, Chris Lloyd, Darren Barker, Andy Lee, Mike Costello. So look forward to being part of that. All right. Anything else before we go? I think that's it. Guys, look, have a good one. My God, did you see Mauricio Lara, by the way? That guy's a menace. Josh Warrington, I think, should avoid him at all costs. I know Josh Warrington's going to be focused on the Kiko Martinez, but as soon as he wins that belt, really and truly, it might be a Mauricio Lara fight next. If I'm Josh, no, swerve him like the plague. That guy just has mean intentions, and it's okay. You know, everyone swerves someone. Everyone, the greatest have swerved. I think Floyd swerved Margarito at a time. I think Floyd swerved Paul Williams. You can swerve someone. Everyone does it. Swerve him. You don't want a piece of that. You really don't. Peace and love.